PowerPoint 1. There we go. Thank you. So we are here on Zoom today, sponsored by the Union Public Library, and we're going to cover PowerPoint 101. This is a series of presentations and workshops that we've collaborated with to do that are business related. Last time was the Word, Microsoft Word, and that was recorded, so that should be available. You can check out the Union Library website for that. And this one is PowerPoint. So just before we kick it off with some slides and then some real life activity here, Debbie's going to be sending out this list of resources and links that you can go to following up. If you're like me, I like having looking at the presentation and looking at the workshop and participating in it, and then following up with my own kind of information. So if someone could let people in, I'd appreciate that. So here we have, this is going to be the list of resources that you'll be getting from Debbie, along with the link to the recording. So let's get cracking. Okay, so let's talk about PowerPoint. I'm not going to put this in presentation mode because there are some things that I want to show everyone here. And I think it's better to show you real time what's happening. So as I said before, welcome to Microsoft PowerPoint 101. So a little bit about me. My name, again, is Susan Justiniano. I'm an IT education specialist, as well as an entrepreneur. I'm an arts advocate. I'm a writer. I'm a poet. And I'm Jersey proud. I was born and raised in New Jersey. So I'm a Jersey girl. There you go. So I have over 20 years of IT education experience in various ways with mobile devices, software, different things, teaching adults and tech-shy people how to use things like PowerPoint and Word and OneDrive and Google applications and things along that line. So we're going to touch on those different aspects there. So here we're going to also talk about a little bit today's agenda. This is what today's agenda looks like. So we're going to talk about making a presentation and what the elements are. As you can see here, these I'm in PowerPoint, and this is distinctive in Microsoft because it is the color orange from Microsoft. As you can tell by the logo here, it's various shades of orange. So we're going to also talk about how to identify the components that are here available to you in PowerPoint, how to access it, what are the different ways to access it, and what are the other programs that are similar to PowerPoint. If you don't have Microsoft, if you have other software applications like Google or Canva, what those are and how to get to them, to utilize it. One thing to keep in mind, although the terminology may be a little bit different between something like Google Slides and Microsoft PowerPoint, once you know the terminology, the basic terminology, then you will understand across the different platforms where and what the different things are. And then we're going to talk about some basic tasks, how to open a presentation, how to create, just basically have one in front of you. Some of the terminology that is involved, like what's a template and how to utilize a template. And then we're going to talk a little bit about editing and format. So we're going to talk a little bit about inserting such like a text box, what that is, what you do with that, to make it look something similar to what you're seeing here in front of you. So would love to hear about you. Take care of you first. The most important thing here is to make sure that if you have questions, don't be shy, ask them. That's why we're here. You're welcome to ask them in the chat. I will stop every so often to ask if there are any questions. If you want to go through the presentation and ask your questions at the end, you can do that as well. If you find that you don't have questions right now, you have questions after, you're more than welcome to send them to Debbie, and I'm sure she'll share them, and then we can go ahead and get you those answers. So come as you are. It's okay if you don't want to turn your camera on. I know some of us are just so zoomed out and just so virtual life done that it's just a little bit overwhelming. And it also helps to rest your eyes when you don't have a camera. So again, if you want to test your knowledge, you can do that. You want to follow along, you can do that. Anything that you feel that you want to do as far as helping you to grasp the information and to apply it to what you're currently doing, please feel free to do so. If there's something that I'm saying, or if I'm going too fast and you don't understand something, please feel free to say hold or wait a minute, or I have a question or something, or say that again, I didn't get that, or I didn't quite understand that. You're welcome to do those things. So if you need a break, take a pause, step back, go ahead and take a break, take a bio break at any time. We are recording the session, so the session will be sent to you afterwards. So just a little tidbit about learning. Learning is a process. You're not going to walk away here all of a sudden being a master of PowerPoint. That's not the expectation, and you shouldn't expect that of yourself. If you have the basics and you here for a refresher, fantastic. There have been some changes in PowerPoint through Microsoft, especially since Microsoft is now in the cloud. And I'll explain what that is in just a moment. So you want to be able to just take your time. I find that if I take 15 minutes a day, if I want to really learn something, I can grasp it and understand it and do my own type of research within 15 minutes. That's usually what I allot myself for a new product every day or for a new platform every day. So you're welcome to do that, whatever works for you. If you're a 5-minute learner every day, do that. If you're a 20-minute learner, then do that. Whatever it takes to make you feel comfortable with what it is you're using. And just remember, through those mistakes that we make, if we do something that we feel is incorrect, that's how you learn, that's how you grow, that's how you develop. And it always helps to have a second set of eyes. If there's someone you trust that you can share something with and they can go over it with you, then you do that. The library has a bunch of resources. You can go into the library, you can send an email to Debbie, and she will direct you on how you can get information and how you can get additional information on that. So we are now at 12:14, so let's go ahead and get started. So how do you make an inclusive presentation? Our world has shifted from being in person and sitting in a conference room and looking at presentations on a screen to looking at a smaller screen with presentations. So how do we make that inclusive? What is the 5x5? Excuse me. What fonts? What is the rule about fonts? What do we need to do? What about pictures? What about my body language as I'm presenting this to everyone? What is it that I need to do as a presenter to help you grasp the information, to help you understand it, to make that connection, even if it's virtual? How much time should a presentation be? We've all sat through those presentations where the presenter sits there and reads everything directly off of the presentation and it lasts an hour. It can be somewhat overwhelming. So let's figure out what works best, what has been known to work best. And then we can discover what works best for us. And then accessibility. What is accessibility? So accessibility means that everyone can access this information, whether they are hearing impaired and utilizing closed captioning when you're doing a virtual presentation, using large fonts, whether they're visually impaired and you want to provide the information in a different way. That's accessibility, or anything that falls into that realm of accessibility. We're just going to touch on that really briefly. So let's talk about the rule of 5. Okay, so each slide should have no more than 5 lines. Each line should have no more than 5 words. So why is that? So people have a short attention span. People like to grasp information and go. And by the way, this is one of the resources that you'll get. So you'll get the full sheet on this. So you don't have to write any notes on this. This information will come directly to you. So how do you do that? How do you create a quick PowerPoint, a short PowerPoint, one that just is impactful in the moment? You don't want to lose the attention of your audience. So you want to make sure that you use phrases, simple phrases, bullet points. What are bullet points? We all know what bullet points are, right? Those are those marks, those punch points, those direct information, short and sweet, 5 words, and then the presenter can actually present what has happened. So as we're moving along here, let's talk about fonts. So fonts are the style of the text that you use. You can use various fonts and you can use various sizes of those fonts. The recommendation is to have only 2 per slide, 2 fonts no more than 2 types of font per slide. So in this case, for this font here, if I highlight this, I can see that it is a Arial and it is 28 points. So it's pretty big. I use it as title. That's my title font. So here, as we go to the text, the body of the text, I can see that it is a 24. So that is the body of the body font. So those are the 2 that I've selected to use for this presentation. As we're going along here, we can see that pictures are worth 1,000 words. If you want to make a point, you want to grab someone's attention, you can utilize a picture. On the flip side of that, you want to use some pictures sparingly. You don't want to visually overwhelm people, or it's a sensory overload when you have too many pictures. It can be something as simple as this. This makes a point. So this talks about pictures. You know directly what it's about. So the less obscure or least abstract, the better off you are. So it depends on your presentation. So timing. So keep your presentation under 15 minutes. And why is that? We're all very busy. We all have so many things going on, so many things in our head as we're going through this professional development and training and learning. 15 minutes. Okay, I can sit there for 15 minutes. If a person gives me a presentation and does a presentation, and I recently sat through this, and the presentation just has a lot of information on it, and the presentation is an hour long, an hour and a half long, it can be very overwhelming. So I've built in at 15-minute breaks. So every 15 minutes or so, I'm going to ask throughout this presentation, does anyone have any questions? That will give you the opportunity to take a breath and just mull the information over and determine whether you have a question in the moment or not. So this is going to be the first space we're going to do that. We are now at 12:19, and I want to ask if there are any questions. Does anyone have any questions about what I've covered so far? Okay, great. If you do have questions, feel free to put them in the chat. We'll come back to those in just a moment. And we talked about accessibility. So accessibility, what are the punch points for accessibility? The acronym SLIDE is used in this case, and you'll get this information as well. You want to make sure that your styles are compatible, that your links are effective, that your images include alternate text. And I included that link in the resources that you'll be getting. What does your design look like? And what is the evaluation? Evaluate yourself. Use the accessibility evaluator, which is available here in PowerPoint and in other platforms as well. So we're going to go over that. We're going to talk about where to find this information, how to determine whether something is accessible or not. So as we move on, we're going to talk about how to find PowerPoint. So let me just make this larger so everyone can see it. Now, look, here we want to start a presentation. I'm given a task and I want to create a presentation. And in order to do that, I need to know where to go. So here I'm going to stop this slideshow and I'm going to show you a couple places to find PowerPoint. On the bottom of your computer screen, if you have Windows, you can click in the window in the search bar next to the window icon, and you could type in PowerPoint. If you have a work-related computer, a laptop, chances are if you use Microsoft Office instead of a Mac, you'll find PowerPoint on your computer. If you're new to PowerPoint and you're using it for personal use and you don't have Office loaded on your computer, you may be prompted to download it. For example, looking on the web, if you look on the web, you can download it. So you can do that as well. In this case, I already have PowerPoint on my computer, so I can just click open and it would open up. Another place to find PowerPoint is directly on the web. So let me go here. Let me close that. And let's go here. And we can go to Office 365. So in Office 365, you can download it for free by utilizing your email and setting up a free account. it has PowerPoint available on the web, so you can utilize it there. Another place to find, if you're not a Microsoft person and you have Google, you have a Gmail account, another place you can find a product that is similar to Microsoft PowerPoint are Google Slides. So you can download, you can open up Google Slides. As you can see here, it looks similar, it feels similar. So it has that information. So in Google Slides, you can just type in Google Slides and this will come up. And you can look at this information. What you're seeing in front of you is what's called a template. And we're going to go into that in just a few moments. As you can see here, it provides you the same capacity, the same capabilities as Microsoft PowerPoint. So you can see that information there. One of the other things that I looked up are the best free PowerPoint or slide presenters. And this is what came up. And what I'll do is I'll just put this link in the chat, just so you can go back and look at it. If you're not a Google person and you're not a Microsoft person, you can utilize that information. So here, I'm going to put this in the chat for everyone. What you can do is you can click on the link. And when you click on the link, it'll open up in whatever browser you have. And if you're in Google, if you're a Google Chrome person, you can click on the star and you can save it as a bookmark to get back to it later. And wherever your bookmarks are on your internet browser. So you can do that. So this is just an indicator. This is just some information about different types of presentation software and tools that are available. So here, this is another one called SlideShare, where you can share information. You could do slides on here. So there are different products available, different things. The basics are the same. You want to open up a presentation or create a presentation. Use a template if a template applies to what it is you're doing. You want to be able to insert text and you want to be able to insert photos or graphics. So when you see that, those are the basics and those are pretty much across the board the same everywhere else. So going back to our PowerPoint presentations, as we open up, we're starting our presentation. When you open up PowerPoint, it will give you a blank screen. How to create a new presentation. You will click on the File tab, and I'll go over where this is and what these things are. And you'll see that you have what's called the back end, or what's called the backstage. And you see immediately, we see new presentations that are available, and these are templates that we can utilize, which means that they're pre-formatted. They have things in specific places. If you don't know where to start, a template is likely the best place to start. So you can do that. You can create a new presentation. You can open one that maybe someone sent to you and you're editing or you're changing information. So you could do that. So this is the backstage, the back end, and it does keep your history, things that are recommended for you, as well as recent things that might be important to you that you've kept and things that are shared with you. Each one of the different platforms has a different way of utilizing this, but this is the basic way to get to this information. For example, in Chrome, I see here that I have, let's go back here. So this is where, these are the presentations that I have available in Google Chrome. And they're all saved to my OneDrive, my Google Drive, which is part of the Google package, the Google suite of products. So you see they're saved here. I can create this, I can create a new one. I also have the templates available and I can create my own slide, my own presentation as it were. So as we're going back to our slides, this is where you would go. So here we can look at this information. Let me just, so we can see this fully. So here, this is what you will see when you first open up a new presentation, a blank presentation, and it's divided in a couple of different areas here. So here we have available to us, we can see here that the screen is divided in 3 parts. The workspace, the main screen, the viewer, which you saw when I opened up the presentation. And you can see here that we have this toolbar, this ribbon, these ribbons, these tabs, this information where it gives us action items. It helps to make things easier for us. If you're like me, the least amount of click wins as far as I'm concerned. I'm going to click to get where I got to go, and I'm going to find a way to make it as fast as possible. So here, Then we want to talk about the second part, which is the slide thumbnail. Now, if you had all your slides laid out on your computer, that would be just too much for you to see. It would be just so much over there and very uncomfortable to view. Here you have the ability to go from one slide to another, to another, to another, just by clicking on the thumbnails, which is how I was navigating from one slide to the next in PowerPoint. We also have the third space from the third part of our workspace, which is what's called the tabs and the ribbons. These tabs here along the top in this red outlined area, you'll see that they are different. They provide different functions. They provide different things to do here. And then as we click on it, and I'll show you what that looks like in just a moment. As we click on the different things, it provides us different actions to do. And we can take those actions and use them as often or as little as we want. It also gives us the ability to do an action and then do it again without having to copy and paste or do all those different things, because sometimes the formatting doesn't always work in that area. So any questions about the three parts that I covered just now? Okay, we are a small but mighty group. I love it. Okay, so let's talk about the home tab. And I'm just going to touch on this 2 tabs, and then we're going to go into some real-time activity. So here we're looking at the home tab. The home tab is where it says everything in that word. It is your base. It is where you're coming in to start things, to get things moving. Okay, all of the Microsoft products have created the same type of ribbon and tab functions. They look the same, they feel the same, and 9 times out of 10, you'll find the same things in the different products. You'll find it in Word, you'll find the ribbon looks similar to that in PowerPoint, to that in Excel. So, and the reason for that is to create an immersive experience and to create a seamless experience where you're not searching for something over and over and over again in different places. So this is what the home tab looks like, and we're going to go over that in just a moment. The next tab is the insert tab, and you get the idea here, right? You get where I'm going with this. Insert provides its different ribbon. It provides you the different ways to insert things into your presentation. And it is directly next to the home tab. So we have those things in there. So here, what we're going to do now is we're going to look at what it actually is. We're going to take a moment and we're going to actually create a presentation. So if you're following along, please feel free to do so and follow the different steps. If you're a learner that likes to look first and then do it afterwards, please feel free to do that as well. Again, you're welcome to enter your questions in the chat, and you can also unmute yourself. We're a small group, so you can unmute yourself and ask your questions. So going back to what we covered just a few moments ago, these are the tabs here along the top. And you see each one, mine is quite robust because I use all these different types of information here in PowerPoint. If I click on the File tab, it will take me to the backstage. It'll take me to these different functions, these specific functions. If I want to have a new presentation, I can do that here. If I want to open something that's been sent or something that I have, I can do that here. And I can see the different functions that are available in the back. I can then go ahead and click on my home tab, and you see that it's giving me a whole different set of information, a whole different set of action items. If I wanted to create a brand new presentation, I would go to File, and I can create New. And as you can see, as I clicked on New in the backstage, it just gave me some templates. And what are templates? Templates are things like this one here. And I'm going to click on this presentation. And what it does is it gives you an already formatted presentation where there's information that you may have to just change. You just may have to update the text. You may want to add a logo. You may want to add information. So we're going to start with this template. In this template, we have our title slide, our very first slide. It gives us the information of what this presentation is about, as well as the author and the presenter, and any other information that might be relevant. As we're adding information or changing information, we want to be conscious of where those things are. How do we do these things? As this is a template and it's pre-formatted, I can go ahead and click right on the text. And you see that it is now outlined. That outline is called a text box. So I can go in here and I can update this information. I can go, let's call this, and I double clicked in order to highlight the whole thing to select all of it, or you can hold your mouse down and you can select the whole thing by dragging and selecting the whole thing. So we're going to call this one PowerPoint. Help if I could type, right? Point 101 text. Now you notice the formatting is all capitals. If I choose to change that, I can highlight this again and I can go to the Home tab and I see that I have where it says font. So in this ribbon, there is a section called font. I can make the changes to the font here. I can click on this downward facing arrow next to the name of the font or the type of font, and I can change it as I see fit. Decide maybe I like this one, maybe I don't like that. Maybe I want to keep the original. Let's say I change it. Let's say I did it by mistake. And I said, oh, okay, I don't remember what font it was before. The magic of this is that you can go ahead and here is the back arrow that you can click on and it will undo what you did. In PowerPoint, it allows you specific actions up to a certain point that you can continue the history and get rid of the formatting or the changes that you've made. You can undo them. That's what this is called, undo. If you find that you like this and you want to use it again, you can click the redo. And what it does is it takes you and it does that, it redoes what it is that you undid, or it continues to do it again. So undo and redo or do over. So here we are. So I changed the font, I changed the lettering, I changed what I wanted to change. Let's say I want to change the text color, I can do that as well. I can go here under the font part, click on the A for the font color and select a different color for my font. You can see the different themes that are available. You can see the different colors, what the standard colors are. And you can see the recent colors. In my case, I have a few of them because I'm constantly in here. Colors that I've recently, so I can make those changes. For accessibility purposes, they recommend that you use dark fonts against light backgrounds or keep it consistent without creating that constant visual change of different things where your eyes constantly have to adjust to different things. So determine what it is you want to use and you can go ahead and do that. From here, I also want to be able to change, maybe add some additional information. I clicked on the subtitle. That's what this is called. This is the title, and this is the subtitle. And I want to add information. Let's say I want to just add the date, December. Today is the 15th, 2022, and I want to add New Jersey. Okay, so you'll notice that the text box, while it's a specific area, that the text still does appear and does accommodate. If I wanted to format the text box for any reason, all I would have to do is click on one of these points here to change the size of my text. Let's say I realize, okay, I need more space and I'm that person that it has to be visually aesthetic, that the text box has to fit the text. So I can do that. I can add this information here. If I realize that, okay, New Jersey and the date don't need to be so big, I can highlight them and I can change the font here. Let's say I just want to make it an 18. So it's not so immediately available, so not immediately seen. So that information is there. So here, as you can see from this template, we have quite a few slides in our thumbnail here. Instead of clicking down, scrolling down, let's say, all right, agenda is great. Okay, I don't need to make any changes there. I can go introduction. Okay, make those there. But if I wanted to go ahead and slide as well, if you'll see it on this, on the right-hand side, you can also navigate this way. And you can go to different things. This is obviously the faster way. So I can go in through in here. Let's say I want to see just how many slides are here. I can tell that there are 15 slides. And my job is to add 2 or 3 additional slides for the presentation because this is broken up into different areas. I can do that here. If I'm going to go in here, I want to add a slide. The introduction is made. The introduction is here. The primary goals, okay, let's say that that's my, and I need to add something to this. I need to add an additional slide. So I like this formatting. I want to keep this specific formatting because this is the area that I'm talking about. I want to go ahead and click on the Insert tab. And I have a whole different ribbon to insert different things. I want to insert a slide. Far left-hand side, it's the first one. I can click on the downward facing arrow and I can decide which one of these I may want to insert. Or if I want to duplicate what I have in front of me for the next slide, I can go right down to where it says duplicate. And you see it created another slide with the same information. It has the primary goals and the same information. There's no difference between those 2 slides. Now I want to be able to change this one because I want to talk about primary goals, right? And I want to talk about Q1, let's say, there. So now this slide is a subtitles. We have our section slide here, and we have our subtitle, our section slide. So we're going to break it down as we make our changes to the different things here. Any questions about inserting or making changes to fonts or anything along that? Don't be shy. Don't be shy. I'm here to answer your questions. Okay. So as we're going through the different slides, there are different things that we can do. And I'm just going to go here through the thumbnail view. And as you can see here, as I go through this thumbnail, I can see that there are tables listed here. I can see that there are a quote listed here. I can see that there are pictures listed here. So how do I insert a picture in a template? I can click on the picture and you'll see that the outline box that allows you to make changes to that specific area. And I can do one of 2 things. I can right mouse click. As you can see, I like to, the least amount of clicks, right? The least amount of movement that I can do, I'll do. Right mouse click and you get an action menu. So in this action menu, you have different things. You can crop the photo. Let's say the photo is too big. I want to make different changes. I want to change the style of the photo. I can do that here. And I can replace or change this picture. Now, let's say I want to, you see the different options. As I hover over that, I can upload something from my computer. I can pick from stock images that are available through Microsoft Office. I can look for online pictures, or I can upload an icon. So icon we'll go over in just a moment. So let's say I want to upload a stock picture. And this is what happens. You get another pop-up window that allows you to search for what it is you're looking for. And I can do, let's say, teams. And let's see what comes up. So you see that there's a bunch of teams and a bunch of people that are associated to different types of teams, whether it's sports, whether it's office, whether it's different types of teams. So I can then go ahead and upload one of these photos directly to my presentation. And you notice that it immediately uploaded it to the font, and I'm sorry, not the font, the format that it originally is in. So let's say I've uploaded that and I've created that. Now I have my other slides. I can make whatever changes I need to make at this point. I can do that for each and every one of them. I can upload my own. I can take one and I can delete it. If I wanted to delete that, I could as well. So there are different things you can do. From here, you can do that with the right mouse click, and you have your action menu. You see there are also formatting options as well along the bottom. So we see here that we can make changes right within our presentation. Let's say I've made changes already. I've made quite a few changes and I have to have this presentation done, but I'm getting on a plane or I have to leave and I can finish this at home. One thing you want to make sure you do is that you save your presentation on a regular basis when you make changes. And the reason for that is simple. If your computer shuts down, if you have a power outage, if you lose internet, you don't want to lose your work. So here under File, we would go to File. And in this case, it's brand new. We can click Save As and determine where it is we want to save it. So if I want to go in here in my Microsoft folder and I want to call this test presentation, call it whatever you'd like. Just remember that you have to call it back to what it was, or recall what it was when you call it. So I'm going to click on Save, and now my presentation has a title, and my computer is running very slow. There you go. And you notice along the top now says test presentation, and it tells me exactly where it is that I have it saved. So when I go back, let's say I leave this presentation, I'm going to lunch, I don't want anyone to see my presentation. It's a big secret, and I want to come back to it. Now I'm opening PowerPoint. So I'm going to click on the file, and I can see that it is now listed in my recents. So I don't have to go looking for it. I don't have to go wonder. I can look at what my most recent one is. So I can open it, and I can see that it is exactly how I left it. All the changes that I made, all the information, everything is exactly the same. And you can also enlarge these thumbnails. If you're like me and you like to see things in real time sometimes, I can see that all the changes are made. I don't even have to go through the presentation itself. I can see here that it's done. So once you're done with your presentation, you want to test it. You want to see what it actually looks like. You want to see how it works for you and how it looks when you're doing the presentation itself. You can click on where it says slideshow, and you can run your presentation from the very beginning. And by clicking through, you can also do automatic, where it's timed to a certain time and you want to keep it forward, keep it moving forward. You can set that up as well. One thing that you do want to do for yourself is test your presentation. Make sure that it is in alignment with what it is, your goals, or maybe you duplicated something, didn't mean to. Before you finalize your presentation, you want to be able to do a run through for it. So let's talk about accessibility, what accessibility is. So here, let's say I don't know where to find accessibility. I don't know how to use that information. So if I go here through the different tabs, I'm not finding what I'm looking for. So let's go here to search for what I think Microsoft called for a little while. Tell me what you want me to do. So let's do accessibility. So if I type accessibility check, that's the first thing that comes up, best actions. So if I click on that, what it does is it does the accessibility check for me. It tells me the things that are missing, the things that I need, the information that I need. It tells me what the errors are, missing alternative text. And it tells me check your reading order, the order that my slides are. And it notices that it has a duplicate slide, and that's this one right here. So yes, I did do that. So I want to be able to check it while I'm working, so I don't have to take the time to go and stop and go and check it afterwards. I can check this off to keep it on. So that accessibility part is very important. So in addition to that, let's click on next, and we see where things are. And you see how things are located, where accessibility. So now that I have it open, I can keep that tab for myself. I can utilize that information, and I can go ahead and continue to do that. Another thing you can do for yourself is you could record your presentation as you're doing it. Record the timing. Record yourself while you're doing your notes. You can add notes to your slide. How do you do that? I'm in here and I'm looking for my notes, and I'm home, and I want to see a specific view. So you see that when I went home, View tab became available. I can click on View, and I can look at the different views of my presentation and see what it looks like. I can go ahead and look at my slide sorter. If you're a person who likes to see all the slides in one place, you can do that as well. I want to look at my slide master. What does my slide master looks like? So that's my master. What is the master? The master is the slide that maintains the same quality, the same aspects that you kept it. So you can create a master slide. And I want to see here also, let's say, for example, I want to just define my slide size. The standard is when you're looking at when you're doing a presentation in person and you have the viewer, that's what you use. For things like Zoom, I like to use the widescreen because it gives you that space and you can utilize the whole entire area there for viewing. So I want to close this because I'm done utilizing this. And let's say I want to add notes to my slides. I want to print them and add notes for myself. So I want to be able to add notes. And this is the last thing we'll cover. So notes page view, we have that option available. Notes view, and I want to print a preview and print with notes. So let's say I want to print it. And let's click on print. And this should create a PDF file. And let's see if it does it. Oh, so hold on. So it's converting. And this is what it will look like when I'm creating my PDF. And this is something that you can do for yourself as a handout. You want to give it to whoever's in your meeting, whoever's in your session, so they can take actual physical notes. Here, we also have the ability in this presentation to create notes for ourselves. So let's do speaker notes. So if we do insert, we do speaker notes. We want to create speaker notes. So you see here, I want to create speaker notes. There's no speaker notes in here, but I can create them. You can go ahead and do that. So that brings us to 12:49. And I just want to do one more round of questions to see if anyone had any questions or if there is a specific item that you'd like me to cover within the next 5 minutes about.
Susan?
Yes.
Jackie here. I'm sorry, I'm not sure what tab you were in, but you were doing the widescreen, like 4.3 and 6. Is there a way you could quickly show us what that looks like on your presentation?
Absolutely. So going back to the original presentation, this is the widescreen. That's what it looks like. And then I can go in here. I can go under the design tab and I can click on, which is and then customize to the far right-hand side. And I can change the size of my slide. I can go in here and do the standard. So what it does is gives you the option to ensure your content fits, or you want to maximize your slide. So I'm going to click on maximize, and you'll notice that all the slides have changed. And what happens, you see, this is what it is. We're going from the wide to the standard size. So let's go back here to slide size. If I go in here and I click on widescreen, you'll notice that everything formatted back in place. So you have those two options. For me, when I use a slideshow on a virtual presentation, it covers the entire screen. It fills it in. So, and that's why I like to use the wide slide, because then it allows me to make a bigger font. It allows me to have this information available like right away and in front of you. Okay, thanks. That was a great question. Anything else? All right, I appreciate that. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And I just wanted to check to see if there were any announcements from the Union Public Library. Okay, so just make sure that you guys go to the public library. Thank you all for coming, absolutely. So go to Union Public Library. Let's see, and check out the other events. There are other presentations coming up. There's some great things happening at the Union Public Library. And look for the next round of business-related workshops that are coming up. So I want to thank everyone for joining us today. You will get a copy of the recording or the link to the recording, as well as the resources that are available. And if you have any questions, feel free to email Debbie directly or the library directly, and those questions will be answered for you.
Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it. Also, do you have anything on like appointment setting too? Like sometimes, because I do work with a lot of clients, I don't know if that can use that in that, or is that in Excel?
When you mean appointment setting, you mean like using automatic appointments and things like that?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, you know what? That's a good topic to cover. So I'll talk to Debbie about setting up a presentation for that. how to do automatic appointments and how to set up your calendar.
And automatic reminders, because sometimes I send the same things out. Sometimes I feel like it'll keep me organized. If I have a client coming in for, like I work for GD, if I have them coming in, I can have them already on the appointment schedule, and then I can just, send a reminder out, or I can kind of see that. So
I
it can
like
keep
that.
me on. Mhm.
Okay, great. Yeah,
Mhm.
make sure to send that email to Debbie to include that.
Okay, okay.
I'll ask her as well. Okay, everyone. So have a wonderful week or weekend, because it's Tuesday, right?
I know, right?
I'm a few days ahead. Have a wonderful week, everyone. And
Okay,
thank you for joining us today. Make sure you reach out to Debbie and let her know how much you enjoyed this workshop.
I sure will. Have a blessed day.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you.